This is the Croatian city of Vukovar, a city virtually destroyed during the wars that broke out after the breakup of Yugoslavia in 1991. Today, Vukovar is being rebuilt, but it remains a symbol of Croatia's fight for independence, a fight known here as the Homeland War. But now a new kind of symbol is causing an uproar, that of Cyrillic signs put on public buildings. A 2011 census showed that Serbs make up over a third of Vukovar's population. And according to Croatia's constitutional law on minority rights, this means guaranteeing their language and alphabet as part of this law. The first signs went up in September, and they were torn down just as quickly by Croatian war veterans and other opponents. These protesters have argued that Cyrillic is a reminder of when Vukovar stood alone against a Yugoslav army unhappy with Croatia's declaration of independence. And they paid the price. Daniel Rihak is a Croatian prisoner of war veteran. Here this room pays tribute to soldiers who were captured in 1991 in Vukovar and sent to Serbian camps. Many didn't come back. Rihak has participated in all the recent protests.
We are against the Serbian language and Cyrillic signs because the aggression on Vukovar in '91 was committed using those letters. 5,000 of our fellow citizens vanished in that aggression. Defenders, civilians, children and the elderly. 401 are still listed as missing.
In August of 1991, the Yugoslav army and local Serb militia groups attacked Vukovar after Croatia declared independence. The siege lasted 3 months and Vukovar was integrated into the Serb Republic of Krajina for the next 4 years. One of the most horrific stories of this war was the massacre of the patients and staff of Vukovar Hospital. Vesna Bozanac was in charge of the hospital during the siege, taking care of the wounded. Today, this national icon claims Croatian governments have consistently failed to understand the emotional power Vukovar still has on the nation's soul.
When we came back here after the peace agreement in 1997, it was all in Cyrillic. And then the process of peaceful reintegration began, and everything that was in Cyrillic was removed. And now, because of the census conducted in 2011, Cyrillic signs have been erected on official buildings again. Cyrillic wouldn't be a problem if people here had healed their wounds, if they'd found their dead and missing. But they haven't. And inflicting Cyrillic is like pouring alcohol on an opened wound.
Today, the hospital basement is a museum, a reminder of what Vukovar suffered and how many felt forgotten and even sacrificed by Zagreb fighting its nationalist war. And even with Croatia now a member of the EU, there are those who argue Vukovar is still used for political means. But the government in Zagreb claims these constitutional laws were necessary to fall in line with EU ones regarding minority rights. Yet for the Minister of War Veterans, the real problem is even if Vukovar's conflict ended over 15 years ago, the foundation for lasting peace is still missing a key ingredient.
The Serbs have not undergone the catharsis of accepting what happened with the former Yugoslav People's Army, with Serbia and Montenegro, who committed the aggression against Croatia. They simply still haven't come to terms with it. There's also a partial responsibility on the shoulders of Croatia. But Croats won't take responsibility until Serbs take the blame for what they did from the beginning.
Accepting responsibility for the past and moving towards the future together. For many in Vukovar, the time is still not ripe for this catharsis, and nowhere is this more evident than in Vukovar's school system. Here, both Croatian and ethnic Serb children arrive together for the start of school, but they go their separate ways. Croatians are in one class and Serbs in the other. Here, Serb students learn both Latin and Cyrillic alphabets, but they also learn about Serbian history. It's part of the peace accord to help Serbs understand and in some way keep their national identity. The director of the school is ethnic Serb. He stayed in Vukovar throughout the siege and is respected by both communities. He says it's the adults and not the children who block integration.
Politics define the rules of the game, and people stick to them. There is no work, so people clutch at straws and don't think independently. It irritates me when educated people don't think things through. If they did, the city would come back to life, with lots of new ideas, better schools, and children finally learning together.
Critics of Vukovar's school system argue that despite the corridor camaraderie outside of class, segregated schools equal little hope that Vukovar can close the necessary chapter on its past. But for many parents, the problem is how to explain this chapter to their children. Sasha Mirkal is an ethnic Serb whose family has lived in the Vukovar area for generations. He has an 11-year-old son who, despite separate classes, goes on school trips and plays basketball with fellow Croat students. He says it's important that his son learns about Serbian history, its language and its culture. And it's also important that he can explain to his son about Vukovar's past.
So really for you, he's asking questions, and it's normal. They are curious in that age. So I explained to them, of course. I grew up here, so I lived here. I live everything what happened in the last 20 years, let's say, 20 and something. And I have my truth. Everybody have a different experience of something what happened.
The 18th of November is an emotional time for both Croats and Serbs in Vukovar. It's the anniversary of when the city surrendered to the Yugoslav army. But it's also a reminder of how both ethnic groups, even if they live here in peace, live parallel lives and not together. And for Stasha Hill, whose father was killed in 1991, she and her mother and sister and stepfather agree that while Cyrillic signs are not the real problem, they are a symbol for the city's silent division.
I have Serbian colleagues, but I don't talk about this with them. We don't discuss it. I don't want to think about their opinion because I'm sure what they think. We are divided here. We all have our opinions, and these opinions are very different. They see Vukovar as a Serbian city, I see it as a Croatian city.
While opponents to the Cyrillic signs are calling for Vukovar to be exempt from this minority law, there is concern from both sides that Vukovar will still remain divided by its past.